So the second part of Cyno Story quest is here. And by seeing by the title, I think you already know where I'm coming from, right? Yes, in today's video I'll be explaining Cyno Story Quest Act 2 in summary. And just so I won't waste any more of your time, let's get right into it, shall we? So we as Traveler head to the academia with Paimon where we meet Cyno. In there, he tells us a few of his jokes and then we go to investigate one of Cyno's cases. Inside the academia we meet Cyrus, who was the master and teacher of Cyno and Lisa. Yes, I mean that flirty librarian. Cyrus then reveals to us that he have received a threat letter, which said that someone was demanding 10 million mora from him. And the paper, in the way that it was written and things like this, eventually Cyno manages to find the culprit, as he was the one listening to the conversation, and he actually did that fast but also unexpectedly. The culprit's name was Uraka, and he tried to improve his grades while also having a gambling addiction due to loss of his currency. Cyrus then treats Cyno to a meal for solving a case, while Tighnari and Collie were there too. In there we also meet Kave, who was waiting for his coffee beans and some wine. After we have finished our meal, us as Traveler go camping with Paimon, Cyno, Tighnari and Collie. In there we meet Kave again with Al-Haytham, as Kave told everything to Al-Haytham about Cyrus and showed him the letter that he sketched, which Al-Haytham recognized that this was actually the emblem of the Temple of Silence. This temple existed in Sumeru for over 1,000 years, now being irrelevant nowadays. Tighnari sends Collie to report to the Sumeru military to keep an eye for Cyno and Cyrus, while Cyno already left, so we decide to look for him with Tighnari. While looking for him, we meet Professor Zaha Hadi, who told them that Cyno has been looking for Cyrus. Cyno then wrote a letter for us asking us to not come after him and then left in a hurry to look for Cyrus. Then we went back into the academia where we met Kave and Al-Haytham again. They provided us with all the useful information they could find about this Temple of Silence, and there we also met Tighnari's master Napis and also found out that Cyno and Cyrus went towards the desert. Then we catch up with Cyno at Caravan Ribat, where we also meet up with Dia and Candace. He whined about the fact that we were following him, like a crybaby he is of course, but accepts us anyway. We then head to Aro village and go to Fodil, asking him for the directions to Cyrus, and he marks up for us on the map the best possible directions he could have gone. Then we head to one of the marked places and meet Setos. He led us apparently to Invisible Wall, which eventually turned out that Temple of Silence was hidden in here all along. He then made us wait for the leader to appear with Cyrus in his hands. The leader was Setos' grandfather by the name of Bamun. Bamun claims that Cyrus had betrayed them and that he must pay. In there we also learned that Tighnari is actually a descendant of Tighnarians, or should I say, Valuka Shuna, specifically giving him a name Tighnari, and that Cyno is actually one of the two children besides Setos who was released for a small fortune, as both children were their only hope for hosting the power for Hermanubis, who was a priest during King Dasher's reign. Bamun implanted one of those fragments into both of the children, and they were doing a three-phase plan, testing if they could resonate with their fragments, which they did. After the experiment ended, Cyrus took Cyno with him. Bamun then wanted Cyno to return his fragment, which is his power. Eventually Grandpa started coughing in the middle of his speech, and Setos decided to take his grandfather away. Setos then finished Bamun's speech instead. He revealed that this experiment would be success if Cyrus wouldn't stop it in the first place, taking Cyno with him. Setos then allowed everyone except Cyrus to leave, and Cyno then asked Setos to think about this, which Setos accepts his offer. Eventually Cyno decides not to give away his powers, as he obviously needs them to protect Sumeru, so I guess that these people didn't think that through, did they? Either way, we found out that Bamun has only a few more days to live at most because of his old age. Then Cyno made a deal with Setos that they would fight in a duel, and whether Cyno would win, Cyrus has to be freely released, or if Setos would win, then Cyno would have to return his power. Soon the duel began and Cyno ended up beating Setos. After that, Cyrus had to be released, and Setos also gave Cyno his fragment, as the deal was also to give away everything the loser had. Once Cyno absorbed this power into himself, it reminded Bamun of Hermanubis, which he told us a history about him and how it all went down during the wars and everything. after Bamun told us his story, he then died with the last words of him saying thank you. At the Bamun's funeral, as the previous leader of the Temple of Silence was now deceased, they had to bring out a new leader, and Cetos wanted Cyno to be the leader, but of course Cyno still has his duties to punish criminals and protect the citizens, so Cyno decided to make Cetos a leader instead. We returned back to the Academia with Cyrus, where Professor Napis scolded him for going around the desert alone at his old age. Then we ran into Kali and Faruzan. Madame Faruzan was being annoying as we didn't involve her in our mission, so Kali saved us all from her by distracting her and also inviting Kali to some coffee later. Then we also ran into Al-Haytham and Kaveh, who are for once not arguing actually, reorganizing all the books they used. Cyno then told them about our journey in the desert and also invited them to the coffee as well. Then we all met at a cafe and Paimon told everyone about how we fought in our duel. After the talk, Cyno invited us to the Divine Tree, which is his secret base with beautiful view, where only Cyno's best friends are allowed to stay. Eventually Cyno spotted Cyrus and decided to come to his master. They took a look at their old photos, which include Cyno, Cyrus and even Lisa. This story ends by the two of them agreeing to go visit Lisa back in Mondstadt. Overall, I would say this story quest was very good, as we managed to get a lot of lore, and not just about Cyno and Cetos, but also some about Tighnari. We learned a lot about them too and about their history, so it's pretty interesting, and I'm really happy that as a Cyno lover, he got his second story quest. In the end, Cyno is now the first ever character who is not an Archon to get his second story quest. Either way, I would say that Cetos and other members of this Temple of Silence organization are not bad people, but just had to do what they simply had to do. We also got a few of Cyno's jokes at the end, and I would say that the second part of Cyno's quest is overall better than the first one, and I do hope that developers keep bringing out better and better story quests, as lately they have been doing exactly that. Like in 4.5 we got Shiori's quest, and it was really way better than I thought it would be, and interesting too. Then Arlecchino was godly, though not surprised for this one, as the Fatui quests never disappoint, and now Cyno's one is also very good, almost god tier as well. Next up now in 4.7 we have Chlorine and Siegewine's quests incoming, which I hope that those will also be good, and Dainsliff quest will finally arrive too, which I expect to be godly too, as his quests are the best quests apart from the Fatui quests as well. Either way, I really hope that this quest recap made you understand about the lore of this story quest a little bit more, and that it also brought some enjoyment to you. If you want to learn more about the lore, check out my latest video where I made talk about Tartaglia, where I talked about his backstory and then even possibilities about him. And other than that, I must thank you for watching this video, and I guess I will see you all in my next one.